We're going to make a turn now to an emotional day in court, where a Utah mom convicted of fatally poisoning her husband was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Kouri Richins broke down in tears as she spoke directly to her sons. Carter Evans joins us now. Carter, it was the first time we've heard her speak in court throughout this entire process.
That's right, Matt. Good morning. While she did not take the stand, Kouri Richins did speak in court yesterday for roughly 30 minutes. She was reading aloud a letter to her 3 sons. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without parole, deciding Richins' sons would be better off with their mother behind bars.
On the morning of March 4th, 2022, in a quiet home just outside Park City, Utah, a woman called 911 to report that she had found her husband cold and unresponsive in their bed. Her voice carried grief. She said she had been sleeping in another. It was a murder. Eric Richins had 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his system. And the woman who made that 911 call, she had already been quietly planning this for months. If you're new here, welcome to Vile Crimes, the channel where we go deep into the cases that make you question everything you think you know about people. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Now let's get into it. Utah is the kind of town that looks peaceful on the surface. Small, conservative, the kind of place where people know each other, go to church together, and build their lives around family and community. Eric and Kouri Richins fit right into that picture, at least from the outside. Eric, 39, co-owned a successful stonemasonry business with his business partner Kouri Richins. He was hardworking, financially grounded, and by most accounts a devoted father to their 3 young boys. Kouri, 33 at the time, was a real estate investor who flipped houses under her own company, K. Richins Realty. Together they looked like a power couple living the Utah dream. But behind that front door, this marriage had been collapsing for years. And today we are going to walk through the 5 specific reasons this marriage fell apart. Because understanding those 5 reasons is the only way to truly understand why Eric Richins ended up dead. These weren't random. They weren't sudden. Each one of these reasons stacked on top of the other like a slow-burning fire. And by the time the flames were visible, it was already too late for Eric. Let's start at the foundation, because that's where the cracks began. Eric had a very specific idea of what marriage was supposed to look like. He wanted the traditional conservative setup, him as the provider, Kouri as the homemaker raising their children. Kouri had different ideas. She was ambitious. She wanted to build something of her own. And for a while they found a middle ground. She started her real estate business and Eric tolerated it, but he never truly believed in her. Witnesses at trial testified that Eric openly doubted Kouri's business abilities. Kouri herself, in a phone call played to the jury, said Eric never gave her a chance because he didn't believe in her. That kind of slow, constant dismissal from the person who is supposed to be your biggest supporter doesn't just hurt. It festers. It builds resentment so deep that after a while, the marriage stops being a partnership and starts being a power struggle. And then the money problems came, and everything got worse from there.
He's had 2 Eppies, American is $4.58.
Cam, you want to come out here?
No history, had chest pain when he went to bed.
What's your first name? What time did you guys go to bed?
9:30.
9:30? Okay.
9:45.
And then what alerted you to him today, right now?
When I just woke up, when I sleep with my kids, I'll just wake up and I go back in my own bed.
Mm-hmm.
I just crawled over on his side.
And he was laying in bed? Okay.
He was on his back on the bed and
Okay. And he was on, you said he was on his back? Okay. Where are your children now?
asleep in that room. 2 are awake with their ear to the door.
Now here is where it gets really interesting, and honestly, a little suffocating when you think about it from Kouri's perspective. Stay with me here, because reason number 2 is the thing that turned a struggling marriage into a cage. There was a prenuptial agreement, and that prenup essentially meant that if Kouri walked away from this marriage, she walked away with nothing. Eric would be financially secure. His business, his assets, his stability, all protected. Kouri, on the other hand, would be left exposed, broke, and in her own words, worried about how Eric would represent her in the community. Think about that for a second. She couldn't leave without losing everything, and she couldn't stay without losing herself. That is the kind of trapped feeling that does something to a person over time. Add to that the very real possibility of a custody battle over 3 young boys, and suddenly divorce wasn't just painful. It felt impossible. But here is the thing about Kouri. Instead of facing that impossible situation honestly, she made choices that made everything dramatically worse. And this brings us to reason number 3, which is probably the most jaw-dropping part of this entire story. Kouri had been secretly draining Eric's finances for years. She used his power of attorney without his knowledge to take out a $250,000 home equity line of credit on their family home. She withdrew $100,000 directly from his bank accounts. She ran up over $30,000 on his credit cards. And she even diverted $134,000 from his stonemasonry business, money that was meant for tax payments. All of this was happening while Eric had absolutely no idea. Now you might be asking yourself, why? Why would she do all of this? Because her real estate business, the very thing she fought for her independence through, was sinking fast. By the time Eric died, Kouri was $7.5 million in debt. $7.5 million. She was attempting over 236 overdraft transactions, totaling more than $300,000 in just over a year. She was essentially writing bad checks just to keep the lights on. The business she had built her identity around was imploding, and she had been secretly using her husband's money to try and hold it together. And then Eric found out. In October 2020, Eric discovered what she had been doing. He immediately met with a divorce attorney and an estate planner. He removed Kouri as the beneficiary of his $500,000 life insurance policy. He transferred their home and his business interest into a trust, and he put his sister, not Kouri, in charge of that trust. He was quietly and legally cutting her out of everything. And right then, the marriage didn't just break. It became a financial battlefield. Now here is where I want you to really pay attention, because while all of this was happening at home, Kouri was building something on the side. And it wasn't just a business. It was a whole other life.
You may think you hate me, and that's okay. When the day comes that you're ready, I will be here for you. And every minute of every day, I miss you boys more and more.
Social workers read powerful statements on behalf of Richins' sons who were 9, 7, and 5 when their father died.
I want her to go to prison forever. If she got out, I would be so scared.
You only cared about yourself and your stupid boyfriends.
I miss my dad, but I do not miss how my life used to be. I don't miss Kouri.
Richins has always maintained her innocence.
I will not be blamed for something I did not do.
By early 2020, Kouri had started a romantic relationship with a man named Robert Josh Grossman. He was a military veteran she had met years earlier while flipping a house in South Carolina. When he moved to Utah, she let him live in the homes she was renovating, bought him 2 trucks, and gave him money whenever he needed it. They exchanged deeply affectionate messages. They talked about a future together. And on February 15, 2022, just one day after what prosecutors say was her first attempt to poison Eric, Kouri texted Grossman asking if he would marry her if she were divorced. He replied, yes, he was in love with her. That text was sent the day after Valentine's Day. The same Valentine's Day prosecutors say she laced her husband's food with fentanyl. He got violently ill that night but survived. Eric even joked about it to friends afterward, saying Kouri had tried to poison him. Nobody took it seriously. 17 days later, he was dead. The night of March 4, 2022 is where every single one of those 5 reasons converged. The lifestyle conflict that bred resentment. The prenup that made escape feel impossible. The financial betrayals and Eric's legal response that cornered her completely. The collapsing business that left her drowning in debt. And the affair that gave her a reason to want out fast. All 5 roads led to that one night. Kouri told investigators she put the children to bed and slept in her son's room because he was having nightmares. But one of her own sons later contradicted that story, telling prosecutors through a therapist that his mother put him to bed early that night without a bath, which was unusual, and that she was not in his room when he woke up. When she returned to the master bedroom hours later, she found Eric cold. The autopsy confirmed 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his blood. And then she wrote a children's book about grief. She went on television. She talked about how she wrote it to help her boys understand losing their father. Meanwhile, her former housekeeper Carmen Lauber testified that Kouri had asked her to source drugs multiple times, specifically asking for stronger stuff, what she called the Michael Jackson stuff, a reference to the propofol that killed the pop star. Cell phone data placed Kouri's phone near the drug pickup locations on dates, matching both the Valentine's Day incident and the night Eric died. She had also searched the words "Women Utah Prison" and "Can cops force you to do a lie detector test" on her phone. In March 2026, after less than 3 hours of deliberation, the jury found her guilty of aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, insurance fraud, and forgery. On May 13, 2026, which would have been Eric's 44th birthday, Judge Richard Mrazek sentenced Kouri Richins to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Each of the couple's 3 sons submitted statements, saying they would fear for their safety if she were ever released. Now I want to leave you with something to think about. At what point does resentment become dangerous? How does someone go from feeling trapped in a marriage to planning a murder not once but twice? And if the people closest to Kouri sensed something was wrong, why did it take a dead body for anyone to say it out loud? These are not easy questions, but they are the ones worth asking. If this case got you thinking, drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this video with someone who loves true crime. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Vile Crimes because we are just getting started. See you in the next one.
He's had 2 Eppies. American is 458.
Cam, you want to come out?
No history. Chest pain when he went to bed.
What's your first name? What's your first name?
The court hereby sentences you to life without